spiritual future.
I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore in my last true crime video because I'm filming these back to back because I'm trying to be productive, okay? You're an outfit repeater. I get it. Also, if I take this off, I literally look like I'm wearing nothing. I'm wearing a shirt on top of this, I promise. Look. Hey guys, so it's Savannah. Welcome back to my channel, and today I really have no plan for this video. Professional YouTuber right here. I don't really know what I'm going to title this video yet. If you watch me on YouNow, and if you don't know that I'm on YouNow every week, that's a thing. For a couple of the past weeks, I've talked a lot about my anxiety, and a lot of you said that you wanted me to make a full video on it. And in the comments, I've been reading also, you guys have wanted me to make another video on anxiety. So here I am making another video about anxiety. I kind of just want to talk about what's been going on with me recently because I'm better now and I feel a lot better now, but the past probably like month has been, maybe even more, like month and a half has been very hard for me as far as my anxiety and my paranoia, which I will go into in a second. So basically, I've talked about anxiety on my channel before. I've talked about depression on my channel before, but I've never really talked about paranoia and being paranoid. Anxiety kind of takes part of that a little bit. Also, these videos are always so rambly and I always feel like I'm not making sense, so I hope I'm making sense in this video. I've always been a very cautious person, and I've always been a very aware person. I'm always aware of my surroundings. I'm aware of what's going on and things like that because I watch too much Crime Watch Daily to not do that. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Definitely more recently, within the past probably like month and a half, like I said, I became more paranoid than I ever have in my life. And it is the worst feeling. And paranoia adds on to my anxiety, and then my anxiety would heighten, and then my paranoia would heighten. I don't really know what I was paranoid about. I was just always paranoid that someone was following me, someone was watching me. I just would always think of the worst situation possible, and it wasn't even just for me. I was paranoid for my family, for my friends, and I would constantly make up these scenarios in my head and freak myself out even more, which would heighten my paranoia. I like get freaked out talking about it, but it helps talking about it at the same time. And my boyfriend even like picked up on it. He's like, you literally like are so paranoid all the time. Like when I walk out on the street, I look around me all the time. I'm always looking behind me. I would always look side to side. I would always look at my surroundings, make sure no one was following me, make sure no one was coming up behind me. Like I said, I've always been a cautious person, but it's never been to that extent. It was really hard. Going to sleep by myself wasn't a thing. I had zero sleep. I was getting no sleep. Like I made videos before, it was like a makeup tutorial or something like that, where I said like, oh, like I can't sleep without my boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. Become addicted to sleeping with him. Like people say like, oh, it's so hard to sleep without someone after sleeping with someone for so long. Like that's all true. But for me, it was like, I wasn't able to sleep. Like I wasn't going to sleep. I was so afraid the second I closed my eyes, something was gonna happen and I wasn't gonna see it and it was gonna catch me off guard and I wouldn't know what to do. So when I wasn't staying at my boyfriend's house, or if he wasn't staying with me, we're literally together all the time. So that would probably only happen like once or twice a week. But still, like my anxiety would heighten to the fullest. And I used to be someone who loved sleeping by myself. Like I would sleep in my basement with all the lights off. And in this period of time, I was sleeping with the TV on FaceTime with my boyfriend, falling asleep with him, with one of my dogs. And I still was afraid to fall asleep. I didn't want to go anywhere by myself, and I didn't want to do anything by myself. And I was afraid to be home alone. And I was afraid to walk downstairs of my house alone because I was so afraid that something was gonna happen. That's not normal. At least I don't think so. It's just, the thing is that I've never been like that. Like I've always been one, like I said, can sleep by myself, no problem. I used to love sleeping by myself. I used to love sleeping in the dark. I used to love doing things by myself, going out by myself, doing things as an individual. And it doesn't mean that I've lost my identity and that my individuality is gone. I was just too afraid to do anything by myself because I was so nervous and so scared and so paranoid about the possibility of what could happen, you know? Maybe you don't know, maybe I'm not making sense. I didn't really tell anyone about it because I didn't want it to become like a thing and an ordeal. And probably one of the first things that comes to mind when I say that I can't sleep is pop some melatonin. I used to take melatonin every single night when I was a freshman in college, and I had fine dreams. People say that melatonin gives you like weird dreams. I didn't have a weird dream at all on melatonin until one night I had the worst dream of my life. I just refused to take it now ever since. It was the scariest, worst. I get freaked out talking about it. Worst dream ever. And so I will not take melatonin anymore. But that was my whole paranoia thing. Just living my life in constant fear, and even talking about it kind of like makes my chest tighten up a little bit. And even on you now, like when I was doing these live streams, a lot of you were saying, like when I was talking about it, like, yeah, like you're looking around your room right now, like you're looking behind you when you're sitting on your bed, like that's crazy things. And then I kind of got in my own head about like what's wrong with me, and oh my goodness, like is this a problem? Like obviously like it wasn't a normal thing, but like what is going on? And I didn't know what was going on. Like I genuinely didn't know what was going on. Like I have always been so okay with watching crime, watching Law and Order and Criminal Minds, like the goriest things you could imagine. I loved that stuff. And all of a sudden, in the flip of a switch, I couldn't do it and I couldn't watch it. And now my boyfriend will be like, let's watch something scary, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to be scared. I was keeping it in for a long time and I was holding it in and I didn't want to tell anyone. Sleeping with my boyfriend at this point, which like I said, like that was like the one thing that made me feel calm and made me feel safe, and that's why I always would prefer to sleep with him, because he makes me feel calm and safe. And one night I was just like crying, like I just couldn't stop crying. He was sleeping and he woke up and he like freaked out and he was like, are you okay? What's wrong? What's wrong? And I like told him, I was just like, I'm so paranoid, like I don't know what's wrong with me. And we kind of talked it out for a little bit, you know, like he gave me a hug, said everything's gonna be okay, and he was like really there for me, and which I love him for, and it made me feel a lot better. It didn't take it away, but it definitely like made me feel a little bit more calm. And then the more that I would like talk to him about it, it definitely like made it go away. And the more that I would talk to you guys about it, it kind of calmed everything down a little bit for me and made me feel a lot better. I really don't know what started it. I mean, I kind of do. So here's my only thing that I can think of, honestly. So when I was growing up, when I was in like middle school, I had the worst separation anxiety, and I didn't even know separation anxiety was a thing back then, but I had the worst separation anxiety and was always so afraid of everything. Like, and that's when The Lovely Bones came out. And if you don't know what movie I'm talking about, then this probably makes no sense to you. But the movie The Lovely Bones came out, and I remember I always wanted to see it, but I was always too scared. Like recently it came up on Netflix and I was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to see this movie. And since I love scary stuff, I love gory stuff, I love all that weird type of stuff, I convinced Dane to watch it with me. We both watched it together and it got to me. Typically those things don't get to me. Typically, not that I don't care, but it just doesn't hit me and affect me in a certain way. This one did. And I don't know if it's the fear of when I was a child, or I know that I'm getting like really psychological here. That's when it like really kind of started. It got to its fullest peak right before I posted my Where is Wendy Hudacock video. If you haven't seen it, it's a true crime video that I did. That was where it like heightened, and I don't necessarily know why. Like I just had the worst feeling about posting that video, but I still wanted to post it because it's an important message and an important story that needed to be told. But I was so afraid of posting that video. And that's part of the reason when I was crying to Dane that night, I told him, I was like, I'm so afraid to post this video. Like I just have such a bad feeling about it. I posted it anyways, and I don't know, it just really, really got to me. The combination of that movie and that story, putting it together, it just heightened my anxiety and my paranoia so much. My normal bedtime, if I was by myself, was 4 in the morning because my eyes literally couldn't stay open anymore. They literally just like shut off like automatically. And let's say like I fell asleep at like 2. I would wake up and my TV set to like a 4-hour timer. So obviously when I woke up at like 6, I don't know why I would wake up at 6, but I would, the TV would be off. I would turn it back on just because I needed some noise. I didn't want it to be silent. I didn't want it to be quiet. I was freaking out so much. And I'm better about it now. I'm a lot better about it now than I was, but it still does get to me a little bit. I'm not the same as I have to have my boyfriend on FaceTime anymore. I let him kind of go to sleep by himself if we're not together now, but I'll sleep with one of my dogs. I'll keep the TV on still. I'm still in that mode a little bit. I don't know if any of you can relate to this like at all, or if I'm just speaking like nonsense at you right now and you're probably like, this is not the video you wanted to see. I'm sorry, but I needed to talk about this because I feel like even when I look at some of my past videos, like my more recent past videos, I'm like, I was not myself. Like I just wasn't myself. And I just haven't been myself because I've been so freaking paranoid all the time. There's still times where I'm like, I'm like, I can't even breathe talking. So that's been my paranoid situation recently, because I wanted to talk about it because I want to be open with you guys and let you know what's going on. So that's been that. As far as my anxiety, that's played into it a lot too. The one thing that I've learned and the one thing that I keep saying that's helped me is talking about it. Because if I don't talk about it, or let's say if you don't talk about it, you build it up so much to the point where like you can't breathe, like you physically can't breathe, like your chest tightens up. And that's what would happen to me. Like going to bed at night, my chest would tighten up, I would get heart pains, and like I literally thought that something was wrong with me, like something physically was wrong with me, I would look it up on WebMD, which I know I said to never go on, but I was doing it and finding all of these problems that I kept convincing myself that I had. And at the end of the day, it was anxiety, because I was so afraid and so scared that I literally made a physical reaction happen to my body. That's not how it's supposed to be, you know? People shouldn't have to live their lives in fear, and people shouldn't have to be afraid 24/7 that something is gonna happen to them. Why can't I breathe when I film this video? Gosh. I just, like, my mind races a million miles a minute and I don't know how to stop it. Is this video even making sense? It's probably not making sense. You're probably so confused. I've just been rambling. But no joke, my camera is about to die. So if you're new to my channel, hi, my name's Savannah. I usually make more sense than this, but I allow myself one mental breakdown video a year. I had one last year. Here we are doing another one. I make videos 3 days a week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. You should subscribe, join the family. I love you guys so much. I'll be back in a couple days with a brand new video that hopefully makes sense. Bye, guys.